Hi, this is Stacy with Lily Bean Crafts by Stacy. Welcome back, and if it's your first time, thanks for stopping by. So today I'm doing a traditional leopard swirl in all fall colors. So I just grabbed a bunch of my favorite fall colors, took this 17-ounce wine tumbler that I got from the Stainless Depot outside. I sanded it, cleaned it up, prepped it, and I spray painted it in this maroon winey color, and then also like a light pink, and let that dry. And I'm going in with several different glitters here, several different versions of them. I got fine cuts, I got chunkies, I got multi-mixes, several different colors. I will go ahead and I will link them all in the description. I am going in with the epoxy method, so I did put about 2 ounces of epoxy all over the tumbler to make my installation so much easier. And now I'm just going in and slowly blending, going really light with it because this is the first coat. I will be doing multiple coats on this to make sure I get full coverage, but this is just the kind of process that I use to do my Milky Way. And now that I have the first coat pretty much laid down, I'm just going to go back over it again and get the full coverage that I need. I might switch up a couple of the glitters. Where I have chunky glitters for the first coat, I will go in with another glitter that is really close to that color in a fine version so that it fills in any gaps that might not get filled in with a chunky glitter. Like right here, I'm doing Boudoir over Boho Chick and some of the other colors just to really fill it in, because a lot of these glitters that are chunky just wouldn't get as full of coverage on there. Once I have this all done, I'm going to go ahead and take some parchment paper and tap it down really good and make sure that there's no pokey bits, and then I'm going to put it off to the side and let it dry for 4 hours. Since I'm going to do the leopard painted directly on there, I'm not going to be sealing this right away. So like I said, I'm putting it off to the side, letting it dry for 4 hours. And now I am just going to go ahead and take a little piece of my parchment paper here with a little bit of paint and just mix up the color of paint that I'm going to be using to apply the first coat of the leopard spots, the underneath. And I didn't feel like going upstairs and grabbing all of my colors, so I just mixed together some of the colors that I had in my glitter room and getting it just so that I can get this sealed and having it so that the glitter kind of like sticks out over the champagne color. And now I'm going in with a little bit of my glitter glue, mixing it together so that all of the glitters will stick. And I'm just going to take this little brush that I get from the dollar store, and I'm just going to go ahead and just like dab sporadically all over here, different spots that I'm going to be doing. This is a whole no rhyme or reason. You don't want the pattern to be perfect. And like I said, this is going to be the glitters that are underneath the black leopard spots, the inside filling. So I'm going to be using 2 different color glitters, but I still just went ahead and just put the spots all over it all at one time. And then once I have these all on, then I'm going to take my 2 glitters. I'm going, the darker one is Figgy from Peachy Olive Glitters, and I'm just going to carefully place this all over the ones that I want that. And then I am going to be going in with Belle from Rae Creations for just a couple of them, just to add a couple of smaller, lighter colored spots. And then once that's all done, I'm going to put this off to the side for another 4 hours and let it dry. So now that that is all done and it's dried, I'm going to go in with some black acrylic paint and some of my glitter glue, and I'm going to mix this together. I'm going to be using a small angled brush for the black part of my leopard spots. So I'm just going to go and just kind of place it around each of the spots. There's like 4 different styles of leopard spots that I do, and I do them sporadically throughout the all of the leopard spots here, because you don't want them to be exactly the same. So what I do is I'll do like a third of them, and then I'll throw the black glitter on there so they don't start to dry, and then I'll just keep progressively doing that. And then once I have all of these other spots filled in, then I'm going to put a little bit of black just kind of sporadically on here, because if you look at anything leopard spot, there's always a couple of just spots on there, like right there that I'm doing, that are in addition to the colored spots. So I'm taking Midnight from Rae Creations, and that's the black that I will be using. And then once I have this all fully covered, I'm going to once again put this off to the side for 4 hours. And then once I was done with this, I did go ahead and do the clear gloss spray sealant for covering that. I did two coats over that. And now I'm going in with my first coats of epoxy. This is 20 mLs of my Flynn Sisters Fast Set Epoxy. I'm going to go ahead and get this spinning for about 2.5 hours. And then I'm going to go directly over it with another 10 mLs of my Fast Set Epoxy and let this dry for 4 hours, sand it down really good, and then we are going to start working on the actual Milky Way or swirl method of the tumbler. And with this, I am going to mix up 20 more mLs of my Fast Set Epoxy. I like doing Fast Set Epoxy when I'm doing these because I don't want a lot of movement with them. And I'm going in with 4 different colors of micas, and I will go ahead and I will link them in the description for you. And I am just going to put a little bit of each one of them right into these little disposable cups that I have for stirring. And after that, I'm going to go ahead and put 10 mLs, roughly about 10 mLs of my Fast Set Epoxy onto the tumbler so that it is all spinning. And then once that's done, I'm going to start placing all of the micas in a way that just works the best for me. Now that I have the epoxy on the tumbler, I'm going to go ahead and start stirring up all of the little containers with the micas in there. I am also going to reverse the direction that my tumbler is going in. I don't know why, I just seem to have to place it with it going in the other direction. It's just a thing. And then what I'm going to do is I'm just going to start using my little metal stir stick, and I'm just going to start just putting down different colors. I personally like to have similar color micas with the similar glitter. It just works better for me. It like flows to my eye. It's not so contrasting. So I'm just going to take a little bit and just run it right up there this method here does take doing it a couple times to really be able to get it so that it just flows nicely. When I first started, this never worked out for me. I always saw other makers doing it, and I was like, I'm just not meant to do swirls. But this is where I'm just going to start building it up. You don't want to go too crazy with it. You want to take your time because you can always add more, but you cannot take away. And then I am just always trying to control where everything goes. So I do take my gloved finger and I do start moving it around and making it look the way that I really like it to. And then I'm just going to just keep going here and building it up until it's exactly the way that I like it. And then to make it a little bit fun, I do add a little bit of heat to it just to have it get just a smidge of movement. Nothing crazy. I don't want it just like trailing off, but a smidge of movement looks really natural. So that's what I was doing there with that. And then I actually am going to add a little bit more, and then I will actually take a heat gun at the very end and get just a little bit more movement with it. And then I am going to let this spin for 4 hours and sand it down really good. And then I'm going in with my final coat of epoxy. This is where this process is really easy. I didn't even need to do a bunch of extra steps. So I'm going in with my final coat of epoxy. This is 10 mLs of my Flynn Sisters Artist Cure resin. This is what's going to give it the amazing shine. I will say that if you were customizing for this for somebody and putting a name on, you would want to put 2 more coats of epoxy on there. But that's not what I was doing, so this is the final product. It turned out so pretty. I really love the fall colors. I think that the swirl just looks so good with this wine tumbler. The only thing I might have done differently was do a chunky champagne instead of the fine cut, but that's just a personal preference for me. And if you like this tutorial, please hit that like and subscribe button, and I will see everybody again next week. Thank you so much. Bye-bye.